I usually get a common question from the people whether or not they can travel overseas under their temporary visa if they have some sort of conviction or a court hearing coming up. Hi, this is Nish from Professional Visa and Education Services, immigration lawyer. I'm here to talk about this particular famous topic that I usually get asked by the client whether or not they can travel if they have a court hearing coming up or if they have some sort of conviction. Now, I just want to talk about this. If your visa has not been cancelled, what the first thing that you look at is your visa status. If your visa has not been refused or cancelled on the character ground and you have a valid visa, generally you don't have any problems or you can naturally travel as usual and come back to Australia and there will be no problem. However, the first thing that as an immigration lawyer or someone who also looks after the criminal side of things, that the first thing you look at it is your bail condition. Now, if you have been arrested by a police officer and you have been bailed out just because you had no prior criminal history or you have no intention to flee the country if the indictable offense is not as major where the police officer has to confiscate your passport, then usually all this bail condition will be written on your bail. When you are arrested and you're in a police stations and if you've been bailed out, you need to look at your bail condition. Now, if there is a condition that prevents you from traveling, you should not travel because now the border force officers and also the immigrations, along with the federal police, they all have these obligations to arrest you if you're not fulfilling your bail condition. So the most important question is if you're really worried about if you had a prior conviction or if you have some sort of offense in your visa status while you're holding a temporary visa in Australia. So the first thing you look at is your bail condition. Now, that's usually the case for everyone, not just the people who's holding a temporary visa. This is the condition for even Australian citizens or permanent residency holders. So the first thing you look at is whether or not you have any bail condition that prevents you to travel overseas. Now, further to this, if you had a severe matters and the court finds you guilty and there are certain jail sentencing, usually more than 12 months, then that triggers automatic visa cancellation under character ground. Now, this is also important that if you have a court hearing coming up and you have not heard anything from immigration even after the sentencing, it's very important that you check your visa status because usually the community service department will already inform the Department of Home Affairs about the findings in a court, and that naturally triggers your mandatory visa cancellations if you have a quite serious offenses. Now, usually in terms of like a minor offenses where you have been convicted and you have paid your fines or you have fulfilled your community work obligations and there is no warrant against you, then usually you can travel if you have a valid visa that allows you to come back, has a multiple travel written on the visa, then usually you'll have no problem traveling. And even with the border force, you can discuss the matter if they have any questions under this. But again, be careful. If you have been convicted or if you have any offense, that you need to declare that when you come back to Australia, there is an incoming travel card where you have to declare all of this. And there is a good chance that the border force officers would like to have a conversation about your offense, but usually there will be no problem for you to travel if there is no bail conditions or if the visa hasn't been cancelled. Hopefully this video will help you to make those decisions. If any case by case situation that you would like to discuss with us, feel free to book an appointment and I'll be more than happy to assess your situation and advise you accordingly. Well, thanks for watching. I'll be back again with more news and update in future. This is Nish from Professional Visa and Education Services.